After a one-year hiatus, the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires is back once again here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Just coming to the halfway point of this season, and things are most definitely heating up. A close battle in the championship up top. Three drivers set to go. David Malukas, Linus Lundqvist, and Kyle Kirkwood, all with race wins this year, all coming to Mid-Ohio with an opportunity to get that whole control of the lead heading to the second half of the season. But right now, time to get things underway. One bonus point up for grabs. Qualifying set to go here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 70 degrees here trackside, and joined in the booth here, the Cooper Tire Media Center, I believe you call it, John Phippen. My name is Rob Howden, folks. Great to be here again on IndyCar Radio. Those of you listening on Sirius or XM or on the Road to Indy TV app, great to have you along with us. But again, this is going to be exciting. We've seen qualifying for USF2000 and Indy Pro already, John. We're lining up for what should be a really, really crucial session here.
Indeed, and one driver we're going to keep our eyes on is Linus Lundqvist, who is tied with Kyle Kirkwood for second in the points. Linus had two off-course excursions in the last practice session. Put it off outside of the carousel turn, and then on his out lap on the second practice session, put it off up at the keyhole. He got no laps at all in that second session. So Linus Lundqvist is kind of behind the eight ball here, and he's going to need to get himself settled in and see if he can put in a good qualifying performance here. So that's what I'm watching for.
Yeah, one of the two storylines I think we have here today in this qualifying session for Indy Lights, as John had mentioned, a 90-minute session this morning, a test session. We had a full test session for all the three levels of the Road to Indy yesterday here. Really wasn't that productive. We had a bunch of rain. The actual final session for Indy Pro 2000 was washed out to a certain extent. So that practice this morning a lot more crucial for those drivers. But in Indy Lights, they had a full 90 minutes this morning onto the racetrack. And as drivers near the end of that session were going to their sticker tires, those qualifying sims, Linus Lundqvist, as you had mentioned, overcooked it going into turn 12, the carousel off the racetrack there. Kind of scuttled a bunch of drivers who were just getting their Cooper tires up to temperature. And then again, as you said, does it again at the very start of the practice session earlier today, off in turn number 2. Same kind of thing. Looks like maybe just cold tires off the racetrack. That's got to play to his mental focus here right now. He knows he has to get the job done, but he's behind the eight ball, like you said, a full session behind every one of the other drivers here looking for a race win.
Exactly right. So hopefully he can get some information from the other HMD Motorsports folks in the field, of course, and his partner
David Malukas.
David Malukas, of course, atop the points order. And Benjamin Peterson also had a pretty good session. Benjamin finished this session in 8th position, so there can be some data sharing there in the Global Racing Group with HMD Motorsports crew. So hopefully they'll have a chance to work out whatever issues Linus may be having and get that car ready to roll here.
Yeah, John, I think you look at the fact that in the practice session, top 8 drivers all separated by less than a half a second. So there's a lot of great information there from Christian Pedersen, as you said. David Malukas was actually 4th overall. The other storyline, I think, is really the speed right now and the reliability and the comfort level of all the drivers in the Andretti Autosport team. Very, very strong. Kyle Kirkwood, Devlin DiFrancesco, Daniel Frost, 1, 2, 3. Robert McGinnis in 5th. All 4 drivers in Andretti in the top 5. And when you do that in a practice session, you go back with we're talking about 1 stream of data, 2 streams of data, 4 streams coming in, all the veteran engineers, everybody, all the experience they have under the tent at Andretti. You got to expect just some minor adjustments are going to make them even quicker.
And Kyle Kirkwood's been atop the order in just about every session. In the test session yesterday afternoon, I think he ended up 3rd. But he's been atop the charts in both sessions already today. So looking for good things from Kyle. He is, as I said, tied with Lundqvist for second in the points, a 4-time winner on the season. You and I talked about it before the session began. Kyle, now holds the record for the most wins in Indy Lights in Road to Indy competition in all 3 series. But he's kind of you don't want to use the word streaky, but he's the kind of driver when he starts to have some success upon success, it builds the momentum, and he can just be dominant. If he gets his head right, I think he is going to be really, really tough.
Well, that's been his storyline, right? Throughout his entire career, he's maybe got off to not a blistering start, but then once he settles in, he goes on these runs, and it's like his confidence is just fueled by momentum, fueled by race wins, and the more confident he gets, the quicker he is. And that doesn't always happen with every driver. Sometimes you get overly confident, you make mistakes, whatever it may be. Kyle has not done that over his career. Pretty solid start to the season, although 9th and 5th at the opening round at Barber Motorsports Park. Had the issue in the opening lap, the first corner of the season, when he got into David Malukas. That wasn't the start he was looking for, but bounced back at St. Petersburg, won the first race, second in the second to get right back into it. A couple of fourth place finishes at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then dominates Detroit, and then wins the opening round at Road America as well. 3 straight races, brings himself right back into the championship fight. And let's be real, 8 points, that's it, to separate the top 3 drivers. Malukas has an 8-point lead on both Linus Lundqvist and Kyle Kruger, who are tied with 227.
Couldn't ask for a better battle coming into the second half of the season here. And, you know, don't count out Toby Sauer. He's not that far behind in 4th spot. A returning driver along with Robert McGinnis, both of them within shouting distance. So if any of those guys at the top stumble, they could be right there.
And I really think we've kind of seen Juncos kind of settle back in. They didn't have a great start with either Toby Sauer or Stingray Robb. Stingray getting more and more comfortable. This would be a racetrack where he got his first ever Road to Indy win last year, sparked what was a run for him to get a lot of race wins and win the championship with the scholarship. So that's going to play to him. Maybe this will be the most comfortable Stingray will be. He loves this racetrack. Toby, though, had a really good run there. 3 podium finishes in a row. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, then of course he started Detroit as well. 4th in the second race in Detroit, 5th in the opening round at Road America. Then the issue that he had with Ian Peroni up in turn 6 at Road America on Sunday. So he's looking for a bounce back, although they haven't had the speed I think they want. 6th and 7th in the practice session this morning. That doesn't set you up with a lot of confidence going into qualifying, especially with the Andretti team being so good.
4 laps now in the books. Kyle Kirkwood atop the order, a 1:12.78. Best time we saw in practice this morning was a 1:12.3. So we're already just 6 minutes into this session on the par with that kind of pace. David Malukas right behind him at a 1:12.9. So only a 10 separates those two. Stingray Robb up to 3rd, as you talked about, looking good in the number 2 car. And just as I say that, Daniel Frost takes over the 3rd spot. Once again, the Andretti cars rising to the top here. Stingray Robb in 4th, Benjamin Peterson rounding out the top 5 in the early going.
And of course, still about a half a second at least or more away from the times we're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised just to see us go down into the high 111s, because remember, this is the first time these drivers have been with IndyCar rubber. IndyCar, of course, wrapping up their practice session there. So when that happens, the cars just get instant grip. You know, and that's the engineers have to know how to dial out or at least evolve the setup that they used in the practice session before the IndyCar rubber goes down, because grip levels are going to come up. It'll be interesting to see what's going on. We do have a lot of dark skies. There were people talking about potential rain coming, a little bit of, I think there was some precipitation during the IndyCar, at least part of the race, part of the racetrack. So all told so far, folks, it's been good. 70 degrees here trackside. My phone says 70, our computer says 67, 91.4 degrees. The track temperature pretty much been stable throughout the early morning in terms of temperature-wise.
Yeah, the issue has been the sun. The sun's been going in and out behind the clouds. When the sun has been out for an extended period of time, we see the track temperature creep up toward 100 degrees. We see 94, 96 in a couple of the earlier sessions, but in the overcast conditions like we're in right now, that track temperature is struggling to get over 90.
Daniel Frost on top right now with a 1:12.687. Pair of pole positions for Daniel Frost, his first of an Indy Lights career at Road America. Really likes that facility. In comes the number 26 now into pit lane. The 26, of course, Linus Lundqvist for HMD Motorsports with Global Racing Group. A couple of wins on the season. One at Barber Motorsports Park, one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A number of podiums, I think 6 in total for Lundqvist. But coming off a race at Road America where he just wasn't really a factor all weekend long, a 4th and a 5th in those 2 races. Anytime you're that kind of a guy who's used to winning races like he did with his championship last year in FRA, where he dominated, you really want to get back on the horse. It's really crucial. And maybe that played into it a little bit. The issue in the carousel, going off at the start, really trying to push hard on cold tires, maybe that led potentially to mistake.
Exactly right. Kirkwood back atop the order now, 1:12.31, so about a quarter of a second ahead of David Malukas. Daniel Frost another 10th back.
Being told a car off the racetrack somewhere around the facility. We'll try to pick that up for you. So a car has left the track here. Interesting, we were only about 9.5 minutes into the session. Really would probably be a good time for some of the guys to come in to make stops anyways. So not that potentially damaging for both the drivers. Have not been able to pick up where the car is off the racetrack yet or who it is. One driver slowing coming through turn number 7 and 8. So indeed just coming to the 3rd mark here of the session. Kirkwood, Malukas, Frost, DeFrancesco, and Pedersen, the top 5. I think that make that Pedersen up to second. Benjamin Pedersen laying down a lap here. He'll go P2. So the notice of car off course has not equated itself into a full course yellow at this point. So drivers continuing to lay down laps here early in this qualifying session. Guaranteed they're going to be going to fresh tires before it's all said and done here to put some new rubber down. And we've seen a number of drivers. In fact, looking down at pit lane right now, John, a couple teams laying out. Here comes Devlin DiFrancesco in the Power Tap Hydrogen Andretti Steinbrenner Racing. Brilliant yellow and black, number 17. Pretty easy to find that car on the racetrack, I'll tell you. It pops.
Robert McGinnis also in the pit lane a little further upstream in the 27 car. He's currently 7th quick, about a half a second off the pace right now.
We saw a really good run for Robert McGinnis at Road America. That was really kind of his breakout of 2021. Kind of the Robert McGinnis of old. Aggressive, really up on the wheel in a big way, was able to make some really impressive passes, and you can just see the life come back into Robert in victory lane with those two podiums, and again a second and a third, I believe, for Robert there. Yes, third on Saturday, bounced back or improved to a second on Sunday, and that kind of momentum, especially at this level, I think, John, really fuels these drivers to push for more and more. When you struggle out there in 5th, 6th, and 7th, and you believe you have more, it starts to wear on you. When you finally have that deal where you're back up on the podium, you're celebrating on the podium at the end of the race, not going back to the hauler, that makes a big difference.
Is this Robert's 3rd season in Indy Lights?
I believe 2nd season in Indy Lights, I think. Yeah, I think his first year, I believe, was the same year as Oliver Askew in 2019, I think. I may be wrong on that. Like I've said many times before, the hard drive in my head is pretty much full right now. I need a new hard drive storage because doing this for 25 years, there's a lot of facts in there. Not all of them are from this past week.
Exactly right. I have the same problem.
Let's talk about the 2010 season of USF2000. I can talk all about it in Sage Carroll, but I don't know what happened last week.
Exactly.
It was short-term memory is not there as it used to be.
Toby Sowery up to 2nd quick. What a good lap for him. He's only a quarter of a second behind Kyle Kirkwood. Benjamin Peterson, as we mentioned, 3rd fast. David Malukas 4th. Devlin DiFrancesco in the pits currently. In the 5th spot, Daniel Frost also in the pits. Robert McGinnis in the pits. Stingray Robb in the pits. That's your top 8.
Here we go.
So I think you're absolutely right. You're prescient, my friend.
It's time to get to work here. David Maluka still out there circulating, as was Alex Peroni. So we did a 20-minute session in Detroit, and one of the things about a 20-minute session, especially for Indy Lights, them bringing these tires up to temperature takes a little bit longer. And actually, as I came up here into the tower, into the PA booth, Joseph Newgarden, Alex Rossi, and James Hinchcliffe were part of the driver debrief with the media. And Joseph was talking about the fact that this track, it's tough to get the tires up to temperature quickly. And again, that's why a 30-minute session really allows 2 full stints. It gives them enough time to change the tires in the middle. A 20-minute session really doesn't give you enough time, especially in some of the longer racetracks, to be able to get that second session adequately. So the 30 seconds is good, or the 30 minutes is good. We're seeing guys coming here pretty much right around the halfway point. Give them 3 minutes over that halfway point to get the tires changed. Toby Sowery to pit lane from P2, as John had said. So a lot of action right now down on pit lane. Almost the majority of the field now on pit lane getting work done.
Alex Peroni moves up into 9th position on his last lap at 1:12.892. The entire field separated by 1.6 seconds. The top 11 separated by just under 9/10 of a second. So, just what you expect in the Indy Lights competition. Just tight.
Well, you look at 12th and 13th, right? Christian Bogle, 2 years in USF2000, making the big jump up here into the Indy Lights series. That's a significant jump for him. And for Christian, when he was making the move, people asked me about it. I said, listen, here's a guy that won our Hard Charger Award last year in USF2000, which means he improved the most positions over the course of the year. Now started a little further back, but was able to get forward. But one of the things when I dug a little bit deeper into his resume from last year, only 1 DNF in the entire season, and he was involved in an incident that wasn't his fault. This is a guy that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He runs within his limit and is able to finish races. Now, we've seen a couple of spins out of him. He's driving a 450 horsepower Indy Lights car. It's going to happen every once in a while, especially at a bumpy track like Detroit.
Sure.
But for me, I've been really impressed with Christian. The pace that he's shown right now, he's 1.3 seconds back, but he's been right in there battling with Nikita Lasiskin, Antonio Serravalle, which is a brand new 1-car team, so you got to give them a year to get themselves up to speed as well. Antonio coming off a strong 6th place finish at Road America, but he's battling in that second group, which I think has been great for Christian Bogle in that number 7.
Yeah, we were talking about Lundqvist just before he came into the pits, he turned the 3rd fastest lap. So he's right on the pace, only about a quarter of a second back of Kyle Kirkwood. So we've got the usual suspects, Kirkwood, Malukas, and Lundqvist as your top 3.
And here's the reality right now. We are with 15 minutes to go. If you want, just reach over and just scrub out all those times, because they're not going to mean anything when everybody puts on fresh rubber right now and makes adjustments. As these cars start to get lighter, they don't add fuel. Like Indy cars can obviously change their fuel levels throughout a qualifying session or a practice session. Not able to do that, so the fuel level has gone down. Most drivers anywhere between, 7 and 10 laps in the books there.
Yep.
They've burned that fuel off. The cars are going to be the lightest they've been when they get back out. A couple more laps to bring the tires up to temp, to get the tires right to the right tire temperature. The pressure's where they want them to be, right in the sweet spot of the tire. The car's going to be nice and light. You're going to see these times drop in a pretty big way. I would say we'll be high. I would say a 1:11.8 or a 1:11.7, 1:11.8 potentially here as the pole time. We'll see what the conditions on the racetrack are like, but again, we're going to get to work. First driver actually coming off the track right now, Benjamin Pedersen, getting ready to roll. And race control tell me potentially that we may have some sprinkles on the racetrack right now. We're going to cross our fingers, but there's a good possibility we could be getting a little bit of precipitation here. And there you go. That's going to make things really interesting. Kyle Kirkwood, a 1:12.249. If indeed we get precipitation on the track right now, we'd be done, John. Nobody's going to go any quicker over the next 15 minutes if there's any moisture and lack of grip on the racetrack.
Exactly. Cooper Tire, proud to be the presenting sponsor and official tire of the Road to Indy, as well as the official tire of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. With headquarters here in Ohio, we believe manufacturing and quality product is the key to ensuring your peace of mind. Visit CooperTire.com to find a retailer near you, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Team Cooper Tire.
13 minutes still to go. Waiting to see how many drive. No, Benjamin Pedersen's brought the 24 back. And John, have a look out there. We have Cooper Tire umbrellas on top of our drivers. So I'm going to pretty much go ahead and call it here right now. I don't think anybody's going to be going out to the racetrack. And that changes things in a big way too, in terms of tire strategy, because that second set of tires that they were going to get ready to roll out on, well, here we go, right? Now all of a sudden, there's going to be fresher tires for the race for a lot of people here. So, indeed, a couple drivers did go out, I believe, from HMD Motorsports. I think maybe both Lundqvist and I think Pedersen were the 2 drivers that went out.
Lundqvist coming back into the pits right now, so I'm guessing they went out sort of exploratory to see if there is any dampness on the track, and my guess is the answer has been yes, because they have taken a lap and come right back in. So I think you may be right. We may be where we're going to be for this session with only about 12 minutes remaining.
Well, they fired up the car of Antonio Saravalli, and no, we got a couple drivers going.
Yeah, sticker tires for Saravalli.
Yeah, one of the Carlins is heading out. Everybody's going to go on stickers if they're going out, but I'd be surprised. So an interesting development here. We've been kind of following a bunch of cells that were threatening to pass over the racetrack here. We thought it might have been for Indy Pro 2000 qualifying. That didn't happen. A little bit, as you guys have documented during the IndyCar practice session as well, but we've got a little bit more here.
A couple drops on the camera lens there, too.
To the point that I just don't think we're going to be able to go back to essentially top speed. We're still green. The track is still able to go. You can put, well, here goes another one of the Carlin cars out. So both Peroni and Alex Peroni heading out.
And the sky is brightening. If we get some bright sun here, what few drops we've had on the racetrack will evaporate pretty quickly. But the track temperature is as low as I've seen it since this morning. It's under 90 degrees now. So, the facility is large enough that there can be, spots of rain on one portion of the track and it'd be perfectly dry on another. As we just saw a car coming up the hill there at turn 7, turn 8, fishtailing as he's trying to scramble for traction there, coming under the bridge.
Just over 10.5 minutes still to go, and as John said, we're seeing whether or not the track could come back to us here. Some light sprinkles as being relayed in from areas around the racetrack. We saw the umbrellas coming out on pit lane, but now drivers back out onto the track and rolling again. So one of those back and forth kind of days where you're not quite sure what's happening. Drivers back at it still 10 minutes to go, and Jonathan Pearson getting back at it here.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. The top 2 are still in the pit lane, Kyle Kirkwood and David Malukas. But everybody else in the top 5 is out right now. Devlin DiFrancesco and Daniel Frost still waiting to go back out, but only 4 cars in the pits right now. Everybody else is out there seeing what they can do. 10 minutes exactly now remaining in this session.
Kyle Kirkwood on top of 112.249, and again, really kind of reiterating the point of getting those banker laps in early. Make sure you get out there and get a couple laps. You never know what's going to happen as the sun coming back out here.
Bright sun here on the front straightaway.
Start finish, of course. But yeah, get the banker laps in early because you never know what's going to happen, whether a cell of rain comes through or a red flag comes out, whatever it may be. You don't want to get caught out not having put down at least some of the best laps you can on the tires you have available. All right, we're glad they're getting right back at it. We'll look a little bit at the current lap time here as they come back and see who's kind of dialing things back in. Fresh tires, track's a little bit of moisture. Looks to me like Alex Peroni, the number 5, rocking onto the front straightaway here, looking pretty good. Devlin DiFrancesco heading back out in that yellow machine. Robert McGinnis back out as well in the Andretti Autosports Series sponsored car.
Everybody's back out on track.
Yeah. So, all right.
Let us see what we shall see.
Indeed. 9 minutes remaining in the session. I'll be really interested to see if anybody can get down closer. We start getting some lap times. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to get into the 11s right now. If we lost a little bit, it might just be a 112.1 or a 112.2.
Kirkwood right now standing on a 112.2. Lucas at a 112.3, so just over a 1/10 of a second separates those two. And then right at a 1/10 of a second back to Linus Lundqvist.
Yeah, look at Lundqvist. Look at Lundqvist, Sowry, Pedersen, and DiFrancesco all separated by hundredths of a second. In fact, keep going all the way back to McGinnis. Each guy is a 100th of a second, 4 or 5 hundredths back of the driver in front. Again, only a half a second separating your top 8. Peroni last time by 1:15.6. And that's still bringing the Cooper tires up to 10. We may not be done with the drama. Qualifying for Indy Lights. Those of you tuning in on Sirius or watching on the Road to Indy TV app, we're back again tomorrow. Indy Lights will qualify at 10:05 for race number 2. And then they will have their first race of the weekend a little later on in the day. 4:30 in the afternoon tomorrow for the first race. And of course, the entire IndyCar Radio Network crew will be back on. Anchor Nick Yeoman will be calling things out as we go racing the first of 2 in the doubleheader here at Mid-Ohio. Watching the lap time start to fall. There's a 1:16 from Malukas, 1:15 from Peroni. Yeah, no, 10, that's a full 10th. But he's still, what, 3/10 off where he was.
7 minutes still remaining.
Bogle a 1:16 flat, Saravalli a 1:17 flat. Getting back up to temp.
Kirkwood a 1:18 and some change. He's looking to find some dry track here. Make sure that he can put in a flyer if he needs to.
We're going right into USF2000 racing, John. After this triple header this weekend for USF2000 with immediately when we wrap up our qualifying run for Indy Lights, we'll be bringing the USF2000s out onto the grid. We'll do the, of course, driver introductions. Got some of our guests from Cooper Tires who are going to give us the command to fire. So ready to go at it. 3 races on the weekend for USF2000, a triple header. 1 race each day, 1 today, 1 Saturday, 1 Sunday. Sunday morning, a full run through the Road to Indy, USF2000, Indy Pro, and Indy Lights. And again, one of these drivers, at least one, but one for sure, our champion, is going to head to IndyCar next year with a $1.25 million scholarship package. 3 races, including the Indianapolis 500. And that was a tough thing this past year at the 500. We didn't get to see a graduate because we went on a hiatus last year for Indy Lights. We didn't have a champion this year running in the 500. Of course, a lot of it, former Indy Lights drivers were in there and starring and doing extremely well, like Ritas VK and Colton Hurd on the front row. But yeah, we didn't have our reigning champion trying to qualify to get in. We'll do that again next year, and we look forward to that in a big way.
Both Linus Lundqvist and Kyle Kirkwood turned laps in the 12s in that last circuit, so it's getting back. Robert McGinnis at 12.9 on that last circuit, so times are beginning to come down again as the sun has baked off what moisture might have been dropped on the track.
Still 5.5 minutes to go, John, too. A long time now. That's a lot of laps for these guys still to bang in there, especially if you're able to get that 1 extra lap sliding by the timing and scoring loop just Lundqvist on the exit of turn number 9 down in Thunder Valley. Get through there, get that one more lap.
Malukas goes to the top, a 1:12.0141. So David Malukas finds a quarter of a second. And puts Kyle Kirkwood back into second spot. Linus Lundqvist, another 2/10 back in third right now. As all three of those drivers on their last laps were in the mid 212s. Now Kirkwood into the 11, so 1:11.8156 for Kyle Kirkwood. Toby Sowery goes up to third spot with a 1:12.3.
Well, there's the 1:11.8 I was looking for, 1:11.7 potentially.
Yep. Still about a second off Oliver Askew's 1:10.8 that was set here the last time these drivers were here in 2019. Now Daniel Frost joins his teammate in the 1:11. So 1:11.88 for Daniel Frost, only 70 hundredths of a second off Kyle Kirkwood.
Here we go, yeah. Kirkwood, Frost, Malukas, Lundqvist, and Sowery now top 5. McGinnis 6th, Rob 7th, Pedersen 8th, moved to Francesco now up to 7th. Rob goes down to 8th, Pedersen 9th, and Peroni rounding out the top 10. Kirkwood 1:11.815. Track right back where we needed to be after a little bit of a dusting of rain. Not enough to change the order, and everybody back out onto the racetrack with 4 minutes to go.
David Malukas retakes the top spot by about a 1/10 and a half.
Point leader coming into the weekend, 8 markers ahead of Lundqvist, and Kirkwood been a great season so far. 4 wins for David Malukas. He's coming off that victory as well at Road America. He's the one that rolled in here with the most momentum. An incident in the opening corner with Daniel Frost in race number 1 dropped him down to 7th, but he stormed back, was able to make the pass around the outside of 1, and just kind of essentially drove away to the race win. He won here now by 17 thousandths of a second. Daniel Frost to 2nd, Lundqvist to 3rd. Kirkwood finds himself in 4th, John.
Yeah, he took a slow lap. He maybe just cooling off the tires a little bit to throw in another flyer, because his last lap was a 14 and some change, about 4 seconds off the ultimate pace. So watch for him to time it just perfectly here, but still about 3 minutes remaining. But Malukas, Frost, and Lundqvist, your top 3. Kirkwood back to 4th, Toby Sowery in 5th.
Yeah, top 4 drivers now separated by just 2/10 of a second as Frost has stepped things up here. Sowery again, just a couple of tenths of a second off. It seems like that they've been searching for that, just that little bit. It's 10th or 2 throughout all the races. Again, had that really good run there midway through at IMS and Detroit, but just not able to transition that into Road America. And again, kind of find himself in the same place now, 5th, 6th, 7th for Sowery. Peroni, I would expect a little more pace out of him here. We're going to hope for more pace, but again, more of a street race guy. I think loves the street circuits. Was awesome in Detroit, but loved Road America. This track's a tough place to go to. And Kyle Kirkwood, folks, has gone back to P1. Kirkwood back to the top with the number 28 machine. I think that almost 3/10 clear, a 1:11.38. I said 1:11.7. Kyle's like, dude, you don't even know. Wow, that's pretty impressive. That's he's a second faster, John, than he was earlier today. Very similar temperature, 66 degrees, similar track temp. That's talking about the rubber that goes down for IndyCar. They get so much grip, but a full second faster right now for Kyle Kirkwood over David Malukas, Daniel Frost, Linus Lundqvist, and Devlin T. Francesco up into P5.
Yeah, and Benjamin Peterson looking racing too, up into 6th spot.
Still a minute and a half remaining, so at least this lap and another one for everyone. 1:11.3 for Kyle Kirkwood. Half a second off the track record set by Oliver Askew back in 2019 at 1:10.807.
Peterson down the pit lane with a minute and a half to go. He's done. He'll stand on that 6th place time right now. Just into the 1:12, so 1:12.09. All these drivers sneaking out of Thunder Valley may get one more lap after this if they wanted, the way the time is kind of playing out here right now. If Kirkwood does what he did on the last lap, see, he'll take a slower one. That last lap was a 13 and some change.
Yeah.
This will be the money lap if he's got any more in it.
Malukas trying to close back up here as well. David Malukas. Daniel Frost. Pole both races at Road America, P3 right now. It's been a good run for Daniel Frost in terms of qualifying. This would be his 4th straight race qualifying in the top 5. Daniel Frost getting some comfort behind the wheel of his Andretti Autosport machine. First year in Indy Lights coming out of Indy Pro 2000. Kirkwood, Malukas, Frost, Lundqvist, and Di Francesco, current top 5. Pedersen, Rob, Sowery, McGinnis, and Peroni cap the top 10. Lastushkin in 11th as this 51 of Sowery slowing coming out of the final corner onto the front straightaway. He'll definitely want to try to get that, if there's an issue, get it pulled behind the wall, because he will not want to bring out a red flag and potentially lose the fast lap. Malukas already in the pit lane. Checker flag is flown, so he's going to be fine. He's pulled off, Sowery does. Toby Sowery, 8th position. His teammate Stingray Robb actually quicker. Malukas not able to challenge. There's a 1:11.8, his best a 1:11.6. Frost not any quicker either. Kirkwood still holding on to the spot. He's in the pit lane in the 28. A couple drivers still coming out of Thunder Valley. DeFrancesco may be the last driver on the racetrack to cap things off. He's currently P5. He slowed it down to a 1:15. Did he cool the tires enough to get a little more? Otherwise, everyone on their cool down lap now. DeFrancesco, the last driver, we're looking to come across the stripe here. And he does not go any quicker. And I'll tell you, Kyle Kirkwood coming right back at it, storming back to a pole position, point lead, takes over the sole position of second in the points right now, only 7 markers back. He'll get that 1 point. Kirkwood out of the car already.
Getting a pat on the back from his team manager.
No doubt. That is J.F. Thorman from Andretti Autosport. Kyle Kirkwood looking to try to win his 3rd straight Road to Indy Championship. Kyle Kirkwood, a 353 fast time. Over 2.5 tenths of a second quicker than David Malukas. That'll be your front row. The 2 drivers first and second in points. Reverse order, though, on the front row for the first race of the weekend. Daniel Frost and Linus Lundqvist will be on row 2. Devlin DeFrancesco and Benjamin Pedersen on row 3. Stingray Robb and Robert McGinnis, row 4. Sowery falling all the way down to 9th as a good last lap for McGinnis moves him up a row up to the outside of row 4. Sowery and Peroni will be on row number 5. Lastushkin and Bogle on row 6. And Sarah Valley, the tail of the field, 1.5 back. But again, folks, Kyle Kirkwood, very impressive, 1:11.353. Kirkwood, the pole position, great run in qualifying, and he stands by with Katie Kyle.
And Rob, it was a great run here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and as you mentioned, that all-important championship point, now you are solidly in second by yourself, still chasing David Malukas. So how important are these extra points as we close this season out?
Oh, you know, it's been so close the entire year. It's been a couple points here, a couple points there. So just getting any points that you can in this qualifying session is extremely crucial for the championship, I think, as we go towards the, we just started off the second half of the season. So yeah, it's a good foot to start on. We know we're going to be strong here at Mid-Ohio. This is one of my favorite tracks. I've done really well here in the past, and something about it I just really enjoy. So now, hats off to the Andretti guys. We've been phenomenal here. I know Oliver was really good here a couple of years ago, so I was confident with the car coming into it. And hopefully this continues and maybe do the same thing Oliver did here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and all your teammates are very fast this weekend too. How much more confidence does that give you in this championship fight when you've got them to take some points away from your competitors?
Yeah, I mean, we started off really quick, but it seems like everyone's kind of catching up, and it's all coming together now. So, but no, it definitely helps. Whenever the teammates are there, it's just taking away points from the other drivers, and that will be also crucial to the championship fight, because if we're all up front for the top 4, then whoever's in 5th is losing a lot more points than obviously who's is in the top 4. So it's really good to have the teammates there behind me as well.
Great run today, Kyle.
Well, John, pretty impressive run, as we said, for Kyle Kirkwood. There's your order right now. Unofficial results: Kyle Kirkwood P1, David Malukas 2nd, Daniel Frost 3rd, Linus Lundqvist in 4th, Devlin DeFrancesco in 5th, Benjamin Pedersen P6, Stingray Robb in 7th. He'll start alongside Robert McGinnis for race number 1 on row 4, and capping off your top 10, Toby Sowery and Alex Peroni. $2,500 for the pole for Kyle Kirkwood. Maybe more important, that 1 bonus point to bring him a little closer to David Malukas.
Exactly, and break him loose from Linus Lundqvist to take sole possession of second spot. We're getting ready for pre-race festivities for our first race of the weekend. Are you going down track?
I'm heading down track, so we'll cap things off here on Sirius, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, remember, tomorrow we'll be right back at it. Indy Lights will qualify in the morning at 8:20, and they'll have their first race of the weekend at 4:30. That is Eastern time here at Mid-Ohio. Nick Yeoman and the entire IndyCar radio crew will bring that to you here on Sirius. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. On behalf of John Fippen, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin. and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
At TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
The championship's so close you can taste it.
Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100.
Side by side. time to go racing with USF2000. And to give us the command to start the engines, one of our guests from Cooper Tire.
Road to Indy, drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines coming to life. I'll send it back up to John Fittman. 28 drivers set to go racing here in USF2000.
Thanks, Rob. Looking forward to it. Our first race of the weekend, first of 3 for the USF2000 drivers. As the safety car fired up with the lights on, we can see all of the engines alight here up and down the pit lane as these drivers are all lined up. You can see the rain lights flashing, indicating that the engines have come to life. And we are just about ready to send these drivers out for their parade laps. There'll be one pace lap. We expect the start to be out in front of Rusty Bell on the back straightaway as the safety car rolls out of pit lane, waiting for the front row to follow him through. Let's send it around track with the rest of our announcers as we follow them around on the pace lap. Rusty Bell.
Watching the pace car bring the field under the turn 1 bridge, the Honda bridge. Making its way up and around here. I don't see a starter out here in the stand, John, so you may get that start down on the pit straightaway, but the field in tow right now as we see Kiko Porto and Michael D'Orlando in the front row. Everybody weaving back and forth. You already mentioned the lights are flashing on the back of the cars as we're under basically a full course yellow here on this parade or pace lap. Pace car brings the field around the top of the keyhole turn and down the back straightaway. This is a big field of cars right now. Looks like 28 cars eligible to take the start. So looking forward to getting this one underway as the pace car now on the back straightaway with the field. Half the field on the back straightaway and the other half just leading up into the keyhole turn. A little bit of traffic there, sort of an accordion action as they check up to go into the keyhole turn, but you can hear the cars in front of me. And the pace car now making its way in front of the grandstands and will be down into the Essence.
We watch them as they come down. Out of the straightaway, now into the right-hander. Pace car with the field in tow. On the pole, Kiko Porto. In that blue and white, brilliant blue and white with a little bit of the iridescent yellow on the roll hoop there. Following along, Michael D'Orlando wound up second in that fine qualifying session that we saw earlier today. The cars are headed up out of 7, now into 8 and 9. Rich?
Coming through Thunder Valley now, the cars are getting lined up. The light is off on the pace car. So, John, I am going to assume they're going to get the green coming around. They're starting to line up a little bit, coming up towards turn 11. Over to you, John.
Thanks so much, Rich. Rob Howden back with me in the booth. And I believe we're going to get the start here on the front straightaway. Frequently we start a big field like this on the back straight, but it looks like it's going to happen here.
Yeah, Road Indy starting on the front straightaway. There's an RTI sign. That's the punch-off zone coming out of the final corner, turn 13 here. The pace car heads off into pit lane. And it goes into the hands of Kiko Porto, who will be the driver to punch off first. Coming out of the carousel. Porto on the inside, D'Orlando on the outside. Both these drivers in championship contention. Porto comes into the championship leader, into the start zone. Green, green, green! And a solid punch off for Kiko Porto, but Simon Sykes right up on the gearbox of D'Orlando, pushing him all the way down into turn number 1. D'Orlando trying to get some pressure. 2 cars together coming out. Miles Rowe, one of the drivers involved, coming out of turn number 1 as they'll work their way back up the hill to turn number 2 now. 3-4 wide coming into the keyhole, and an issue for 2 drivers off the track, but they're able to somehow come back on the racetrack, John. That was wild. Being told potentially a couple of cars off track, they would have been farther off track from what I was looking at. They'll work their way down the back straightaway right now. So again, as I said, the number 99 of Miles Rowe involved in that one. Rusty, did you see that out over there?
Just saw the contact. You could see the tire marks on the very outside edge of the track where the 2 cars came together, the 99 and the 11, sitting in the gravel trap here at 1. safety vehicles and the pace car already out on track, so we're going to have to go full course yellow to pick up that Miles Rowe and Prescott Campbell, who are in the gravel trap right now.
Yeah, they started 17th and 14th respectively, and not the way you want to start getting contact coming through turn number 1. And John, you've called countless races here at Mid-Ohio. You have to give and take in turn number 1 because you're not going to win the race there. It's a hard place to pass as it is anyways, but you're just not going to win a race there.
It's an old adage, and it's, you know, I'm almost tired of saying it. You cannot win the race on the first lap, but you can sure lose it. And turn 1 is you know, one of those turns where you could go through 2 wide, 3 wide on a push, but if you try to, you know, really do something brave, somebody's going to get forced off to the outside. It almost always happens, and I think that's exactly the case. Somebody just carried a little too much pace, and off they went.
Really tough for those drivers, of course, in the championship fight. Prescott Campbell had a win earlier in the year. It was really still in the championship battle, and to see that happen to him, you know, he's going to be super disappointed.
Yeah, sixth of the points coming into this round. So.
Yeah, that's it, right? So, and this, listen, we're going to harp on this throughout the weekend, and I hope we don't bore those around. This is a turning point weekend for USF2000. Not so much for Indy Pro or Indy Lights. There's lots more racing still to do, but there's only 2 events after this. As you can see, the cars of number 99, Miles Rowe, getting pulled off. He's lost his front wing. You can see that sitting in the grass. Prescott Campbell looks to be, I don't know if that car's really that damaged at this point, John. Maybe left rear. Yeah, the left rear skew for sure.
Yep.
But again, it's a turning point weekend, and sometimes it can turn for the positive, and sometimes it turns for the negative.
Exactly right. This is a 20-lap race, or 40 minutes, whichever occurs first. So hopefully this will be our last full course yellow. But you know, these cars pretty much mired in the gravel trap, as the AMR safety truck is now getting stuck in the gravel trap. So that's going to complicate things just a little bit, I think. Rusty Bell, you've got eyes on that.
Yeah, a little bit stuck there. We have the wrecker out. That number 11 is not a car they can even tow out of the gravel trap. The Prescott Campbell's car there told him to get out of the car. In fact, both drivers are getting out of the car now. Our AMR truck is out of the gravel trap, so that's good news, but we're going to have to wrecker those cars to get them out of harm's way.
So I think we got a little look at the replay here, folks, potentially what happened here coming down into turn number 1. Again, it's Miles Rowe in the red and black, number 99, and the blue and white of Prescott Campbell coming essentially under the bridge of turn 1. Here's a good shot from the outside. Campbell's already gone around. So Prescott Campbell potentially either looping by herself, contact from behind Miles Rowe with just nowhere to go. And Miles has had such rough luck throughout this season. He's been involved in a couple of incidents. This one here, not of his doing whatsoever, just stuck on the outside. He, like Prescott Campbell, just went around.
Yeah, he either went around on his own or he maybe got a little tap from behind. It's really hard to tell, but as they came into the camera shot, he was already sideways, and Rowe was just looking for some place to go, and his only escape route was off into the ground.
And I'm going to say this, coming out of the corner at the speed they are punching up, you're not carrying that much speed up into turn number 1. He's not just going to lose the rear of that car. Someone most definitely got into the back. You know, of course, you get the accordion effect of people getting on the brakes, someone not getting on the brakes quick enough, getting into the gearbox, and around went Prescott Campbell. And poor Miles Rowe with just nowhere to go in the number 99. So an inauspicious start to the event here, the first of 3 for the USF2000 drivers. As an incident in turn 1 has brought out the full course yellow. Kiko Porto, D'Orlando and Sykes 1, 2, 3. Siegel in 4th spot. Fraser 5th. Garg 6th. Pearson 7th. Jace Denmark in 8th. Green 9th, and Matt Round-Garrido in 10th. Christian Brooks making up making up 1 spot to 14th. We started 15th. Keep an eye on the 44, that white and red exclusive Autosport machine. There is some urgency for him to get to the front of this racetrack because he's trying to be in this championship battle, and the guys he's fighting with are now essentially 1st and 2nd because Porto, the leader, coming in. D'Orlando was just a couple of points, 9 points ahead of Brooks coming into the race, and you don't want to be starting that far deep in the field, that's for sure.
You bet.
So looking down below us here, the number 99 Force Indy crew is actually packing things up. That's it for Miles Rowe. He'll look forward to another race tomorrow. Triple header, as we said. So another opportunity for both those drivers to get back out and score points and potentially get themselves back up onto the podium. Otherwise, field circulating around the pace car and hoping that we'll potentially be able to go green the next time by. We did see the cars up on the wreckers. And the update coming that we will very likely not go. And you can see actually in the back part of the racetrack there, that's the number 99 of Miles Rowe. We'll see where they take Miles in that car. They can bring back to lane or somewhere off the racetrack on the outside of turn number 2.
There's an exit there at the outside of the keyhole, the back door we call it. That's where he's headed.
So we saw one replay of the incident here from the outside. We're going to get another look, another angle of where the contact might have been. Maybe we'll get a better look here of what happened to Prescott Campbell again. Yeah, here's the outside shot. Look for Prescott Campbell. There's some contact there. Yeah, so Campbell goes around. It actually was Miles Rowe, I think, that got into the back of him. So indeed, Miles Rowe getting into the back of Prescott Campbell directly behind him. You can see the front wing, John, coming off already. The contact was made. A couple other drivers checking up. Yeah, Miles Rowe getting in the back, going into the braking, and he really took himself out at the same time being collected in the instant that he started.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Prescott Campbell qualified 14th. Miles Rowe was back in row 9, just behind him. So they were in close proximity at the start, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, thanks to our crew for that great replay that really unwinds the mystery.
Yeah, we definitely got a good look, a couple angles of what happened there, and it's really tough to see that happen on. You never want to see that happen to one, but this particular corner, the way you roll up there, and everybody's trying to charge in so hard to get through there because you can't win the race there, but the opening lap and the first couple of corners are the best opportunity to potentially make up spots. So There's that kind of dichotomy of black and white. You want to get through cleanly, but you also don't want to leave the opportunity to get a couple spots there.
Yeah, especially if you're starting a little further back than you think you should have. It's really tempting to try to make up spots in the early going.
So again, drivers circulating around a little bit. Being told that the final wrecker is now rolling, so the good possibility we could be able to go back to green next time around. I know that our race director, Joel Miller, likes to get these drivers back to green as soon as they possibly can. You can see the AMR safety team still on scene to make sure everything's fine. Drivers circulating their way through turn number 1. Where's Euban Sooner Murthy as well? That's another key issue. He's down into the 13th position. Euban started 13th. He's second place in points. So really, John, this is an opportunity for Kiko Porto and Michael, number one, D'Orlando to get himself kind of back into the fight among those in front of him, but Kiko Porto a win here, 15 points ahead coming out. Man, if he's able to go to 20, got the pole, another bonus point there. This is really, things are going Kiko Porto's way right now.
Yeah, absolutely right. Rusty, you've got eyes on that situation. Do they have that car up on the hook?
The record is off track now. It took that track cut that we have up at the top of the keyhole, and it's out behind the guardrail. We just have one safety vehicle to restage here at turn 1, and we'll be green this time by. So looks like the pace car lights already may be out. Yeah, they are out right now as they come by. So we'll be looking for the green this time.
Thanks, Rusty.
Rusty giving us some good news. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going green this time by, folks. And we'll be back at it. 4 laps. It'll be 5 laps in the books. 15 to go when we get rolling again. Single file restart, which should likely give us the opportunity to get through it. And anytime we have the races here at USF2000, the key is to get these drivers as many laps as we possibly can. We don't want them circulating around under the full course yellow. An incident tough for Prescott Campbell, just minding his own business, coming into the braking zone at turn number 1. And that's the last thing you want to feel. You've raced before. Yep. Please let me get through cleanly. You've taken the set. You've got your braking zone. You're just hoping that someone doesn't plow you from behind. And in this case, they brought up the full course yellow. 2 drivers off. We've lost both Prescott Campbell and Miles Rowe. That leaves 26 drivers still to go. Kiko Porto will set the pace when they come back out of the carousel. Michael D'Orlando in second. Simon Sykes in third. Nolan Siegel in fourth. Billy Fraser fifth. 6th, Majoy Garg. 7th, Josh Pearson. 8th, Jace Denmark. 9th, Josh Green. And 10th is Matt Round Garrido. Kiko Porto with the point lead, as we said, coming in. 16
laps to go when they come to the green here. So we're already 10 minutes into this, so we'll have to hustle to get all 20 laps in, but we'll see what we can do.
Everybody getting into position, and once again, Kiko Porto on the throttle quickly, out of the corner. We are racing. Porto across the line to get things back underway. Here's the big rundown into turn number 1. Porto leads Michael D'Orlando, who is trying to get himself back in the fight. The pressure further back there as well. I think that might have been, I want to say, Majoy Garg put some pressure on Billy Fraser. Again, that would be for the P5 position. Big wide arc to the outside for Porto. Not worried about challenging there. Good run for Porto. Doesn't get challenged by D'Orlando. I think D'Orlando realizing, you know what? Let's see if we can't pull away a little here on the opening lap. I don't need to get aggressive. If you start getting aggressive up in the opening lap, all the Lions behind you are going to dive in as well. If it can be a 2-driver breakaway, they'd be more than happy with that.
Lots of 2 wide racing coming off the keyhole turn as they make their way down the long back straightaway. having to go defensive is Kiko Porto as D'Orlando looking for a way around.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Down to the inside of the racetrack there for Kiko Porto, and Michael D'Orlando in the Cape Motorsports car up on the wheel to get at it here. I think a couple passes further back as well. There's another spot there, I think, for Christian Brooks. I'm going to say Brooks by Kohlbecker, Spike Kohlbecker there. So Christian Brooks looking to sending it back deep in the field. He knows he's got to get forward. He would like to probably see, 4 or 5 laps, another full course yellow. You know what I mean? Let me get 6 or 7 positions or 5 or 6 positions, and let's do it again.
Yeah, he's stuck back there with Yuvan Sundarabuthi in 13th and 14th, respectively. And they're both a couple front runners, so they're going to be trying to find a way forward. But Kiko Porto able to hang on to that lead.
And look at that lead trio, John. That was Simon Sykes in the Legacy Autosport car. Simon coming off his best weekend in his really short and kind of cut up Road to Indy career. He hasn't ever had a chance to do a full season, coming off a great weekend at Road America, where he was right in the hunt there, second place in one of the events, and now he's running P3. I like the momentum that's building for Legacy Autosport, and Simon Sykes, so impressive. Christian Brooks got by Kohlbecker, as I said. He's now into the 13th spot. He's going to work on Thomas Nepvu now, who won the last race of the season. Nepvu, though, getting a pretty good run there. You can see them coming right through there. The 2 white Cape cars separating the white and red exclusive car. We'll keep an eye on that a little bit. One driver slowing further back, and I think that looks to me like one of the turn 3 drivers, either Josh Green or Dylan Christie slowing at the tail of the field. Probably Dylan Christie in the number 34. Need confirmation on track. It was the 34 of Dylan Christie. Not a great start to the weekend. So again, coming down through turn number 6, tough part of the racetrack, John. You're always balancing the car left to right, and just especially then you get back down here into turn number 9, which is such a tough corner. You'll see a lot of drivers dropping a wheel on the exit of that corner.
Exactly right, and that's another really dangerous spot, because if you drop a wheel off into the grass, you can easily hook the car around and make contact with the barrier down under the bridge on driver's right.
Looking for some of the drivers making big moves forward, but the key up front right now is that Kiko Porto has established a little bit of a gap now on Michael D'Orlando. Nothing I think that Michael will be too worried about, John. He's going to be able to catch up. It's a big, long run up to turn 2, a big, long run down the back straightaway. You'll get the draft there. Now, granted, if you get too close into the keyhole, then you'll lose that air off the front wing. How many times have drivers complained about that mid-corner oversteer where they lose the front wing, aero wash, as they say, the car pushes through the corner? That's when you really have to kind of set up and get a little more air on that front wing.
And as we watch the progression of the Road to Indy races throughout the course of the weekend, the more downforce the cars make, the harder it is to follow closely. So these cars have the best opportunity to follow close of the 3 cars that are here. As you get up into Indy Lights, it's even harder because of all the downforce that car makes. I'll tell you what, D'Orlando is looking for any way he can to get around leader, and there he goes down into turn 6.
Trying it down into turn 6, side by side coming out there. Simon Sykes all up over the curbing into turn number 8 and 9 right now. Top 3 drivers together, and that's going to allow Billy Fraser, who's gone to P4. Shout out to Billy Fraser in the Cambridge Global Payments Machine for exclusive Autosport. He has gone to 4th. Best run we've seen out of Fraser since a stellar run at St. Petersburg earlier in the year. So Fraser now starting to get aggressive. He's right behind him, has Nolan Siegel. Bajoy Garg now in 6th, Jace Denmark 7th, Green 8th, Pearson 9th, and Sooner Murthy in 10th. They come across the line. 11th is now the number 92 of Matt Round-Garrido. 12th is Nepvu, 13th is Brooks, 14th Kohlbecker, 15th Peter Vodanovic. So a good run for Vodanovic as well. Started 23rd, John, up into 15th position for the Kiwi. Rookie driver for J. Howard Driver Development. Nice run for Vodanovic.
Absolutely, making up a lot of ground in a hurry. But Fraser and Siegel impressing me as both of them. Siegel dropped back a couple spots. He qualified 3rd. But Billy Fraser, like you say, you wouldn't expect him to be at the front. He qualified really well, putting the car in 5th spot in qualifying. And now he's up 1 spot in 4th and leading that second draft, closing up on the back of the leaders as they're fighting each other.
Top qualifier for exclusive Autosport as well. Billy Fraser coming to us from the Toyota Racing Series. Fantastic partner of us that run down in New Zealand. They do a really awesome program. 6 hardcore weeks of racing there in January and February. Great training ground for drivers who potentially want to come to the Road to Indy to get some wheel-to-wheel racing in the off-season. Billy, of course, running that entire series. We have a scholarship program that allows him to get some free entry and tires for one of our test days. He took advantage of that, and we're seeing him have one of his best runs of the year. Getting really racy, as you said as well, trying to put some pressure here on Simon Sykes, but he does lead that kind of second group, as you said, only about 3 or 4 car lengths behind Simon Sykes as they come through turn 13. Great shot here to watch these drivers circulate through the racetrack.
top 11 actually have kind of formed into a train, and then there's a bit of a gap back to Matt Round-Garrido and Nepvu right behind him. But just a little more of a gap between Sundaramurthy and Round-Garrido between 10th and 11th.
The advance of Christian Brooks from that 15th position starting spot has kind of got stalled a little bit. He hasn't been able to find a way yet by Thomas Nepvu, the Cape Motorsports driver out of Quebec, Canada. 12th spot, the battle there. Let's see if he gets him. He gets a better run coming out of the corner. Here comes Brooks there. That's the battle that just came out the left side of the screen, heading down the back straightaway now. Let's see if Brooks is able to tuck in. Still Kiko Porto up front. He'll look there as well further back. No, Brooks not able to get it done right there coming through the apex of turn number 4. Man, if you can't get it done in turn number 4, you'd be hard-pressed to get it done anywhere else, John, because just that good run out of the keyhole is what allows you to make that run down into the big corner there at the end of the straightaway.
And if you look at the points as they run right now, Michael D'Orlando would move up to 2nd in the points from 4th as they run right now, as Yuvid Sundaramurthy would be back in the 3rd spot with Pearson in the 4th position. So Kiko Porto looking to expand his points lead up to over a race distance, 35 points of it would end right now.
And
lots of racing left to go, but that's the way they run.
John, how good is that in your head? When you're a championship leader with a full race points, over a full race points ahead, it gives you such a different approach to races. You don't need to be so racy sometimes. If a guy's pressuring you really hard, especially if he's not one of your primary championship contenders, maybe you give him a little more room, whatever it may be. Maybe you'll take a second. Maybe you do what a Scott Dixon does and take the best you have of your car and somehow get race points and end up with a championship at the end of the season. It's best to race what you have, the best you have, optimize the car that you have instead of throwing it away.
Exactly right.
And having that many points up for Kiko Porto could be big, but we're not done. Like you said, a flip-flop here would change that point gap significantly, and I don't think, personally, that Michael D'Orlando is done here. He's been able to pull away from Simon Sykes. It's still Fraser running 4th and Siegel 5th. 6th Guard, 7th Denmark, 8th Green, 9th Pearson, and 10th Sundaramurthy.
Coming up on half distance this time by, we'll be halfway home with about 17 minutes into the session. So as it stands right now, we might get all the laps in if we stay green the rest of the way.
Drivers cresting the hill of turn number 9 down into Thunder Valley. Final race of the day. And the first of 7 for you here in the Road to Indy. 2 races for Indy Pro 2000, 2 for Indy Lights, and of course the triple header here for USF2000. All 3 will line up before the NTT IndyCar Series event on Sunday morning. So those of you camping out here will have a fantastic morning, a little breakfast and coffee, your beverage of choice on race morning, and get a chance to see some great racing. Here's a good fight here coming across the line as well. That's a little bit further back. I think that might have been Christian Weir and Jackson Lee dicing it out, really going at it hammer and tong there. Eric Evans might have been in that fight, but that was side-by-side coming out of turn 13. You don't see that a lot, side-by-side out of 13.
Yeah, Evans and Weir, I think, were the ones doing it as Evans moved up that spot and put Weir back in 18th.
Yeah, Weir hung out to dry on the outside. You can see them coming out of the carousel now. He would have to tuck back in. That's a tough deal. There's that battle right there. Exactly right. That is Evans, Weir, and Lee nose to tail, and that is the fight for 17th, 18th, and 19th. Ooh, let's make it 3 wide down to turn number 4 wide, don't we? Oh, what a tremendous scrap that is. And that's that battle we're talking about. Let's bring Michael Myers and Eli Navarro into that as well. I'm in. Oh, there we go. And the contact ensues. Coming to 5. Contact between 2 drivers, local out in turn number 5. We may have that full course caution we were wondering about.
Tom Michaels, that's right at your feet. Who we got there?
Well, right now the car that is stopped on course, that is the number 29 car, Eric Evans. That gray VRD car is sitting there. Looks like it's got damage to the left side, the left rear. So it is just sitting here. The other car that was involved has taken off and making its way around the race course here.
Yeah, Tom, that was Michael Myers and the number 24 machine. We're keying on him right now on the camera.
Looks like a sprint car.
Got a full wing up front there. Yeah. Some piece of the bodywork has shot up, maybe the right side. I'm thinking the right side kind of cowl, radiator cowl, the side pod has popped up in the air. He'll bring that car to pit lane. Tough one for Michael Myers, the front wing damage as well, because man, he was in the middle of a really good scrap there with Weir and Lee. Navarro was in there as well. So that fight for what was around 17th, 18th, and 19th, yes, has come to its end, at least in this particular chapter. 11 laps in the books. They'll put 12 when they come back around. Tom, how does it look out there with Eric Evans? Is that going to be, you think, a lengthy cleanup, or are they going to be able to pick him up and just get him off the racetrack?
Right now, they're waiting for the tow truck to come across the racetrack. It's sitting over there to the outside of turn number 5. The AMR safety crew already has the driver of the injured race car sitting there in the pickup truck. So as soon as it is clear, here comes the tow truck. It's going to hook on, and we'll have to see whether they bring the car all the way around or just put it behind the wall for right now.
Yeah, we had a quick look at it there while you were detailing it. Ideally, that car will get across quickly, get Eric up and get that car rolling. 11 laps down. Let's put 12 of the books across the line right now. Let's give you a full field rundown. Halfway through, Kiko Porto, your leader. And then we've got Michael D'Orlando in second, Simon Sykes in third, Billy Fraser fourth. Good run for Fraser. He's been able to hold off relentless pressure from Nolan Siegel. Bajoy Garg in sixth spot, Chase Denmark in seventh. It's Josh Green in the 8th position. Josh Pearson and Yuvan Sundermurthy round out your top 10. Then you got Matt Rangarito there at 11th. Then you had a good battle of 3 drivers, Thomas Netfu, Christian Brooks, and Spike Kohlbecker, the 2 Cape Motorsports drivers. Kohlbecker with Ignite Autosport with Cape, kind of surrounding Christian Brooks. Then we'll go to Vodanovic, Stammer, Weir, Lee, Navarro, and Burke, your top 20. They've racked up a replay, folks. Let's have a look at what we saw here coming over turn number 5. And again, that's over the rise. Here's a good shot here. Everybody's rolling through. Top of the hill. Looks like a spin, indeed, for Eric Evans. So Evans potentially contacted behind, John, you think? Otherwise, you can't lose it there coming over the hill if you've entered with too much speed, too.
Sure can, but because the car is light, especially at the rear there, even a little bit of a tap will send you around. So it could well be that there was some contact.
And that's very similar to what we saw with Prescott Campbell and Miles Rowe. Contact from behind, driver spin, the driver who made the contact potentially gets caught up in it. So not sure from that angle whether or not that was actually the fault of Michael Myers, or even just that light contact. When you're that close, driver checking up a little bit, you get into the back of them. And again, like you said, the car is so light when you get over the top of the hill, it starts to rotate. It'll rotate itself. You want it to rotate, really get through the corner cleanly when the car rotates like that. But all it takes is when you're on the ragged edge, just a little tap in the back and around you go. So full course yellow, 12 laps in. We lost Prescott Campbell and Miles Rowe on the opening circuit. We've now lost Eric Evans from contact. Michael Myers into pit lane as well. I've got eyes on him here. They're trying to see if they can get him back on. I don't think that they will. They were looking to put the front wing back on it. But it looks to me like maybe they'll call it quits here for Michael. In fact, I think he's already out of the car, to be honest. Yeah, Michael's already out of the car. So that'll be it for Michael Myers and Evans. Evans will finish 24th. Myers classified 25th. And mechanical for Chase Highland in the number 7. He's out as well, Campbell and Rowe. So 5 drivers already out, 23 remain on the racetrack. And just outside the top 15, as I had mentioned, Evan Stammer was having a good run there with Peter Vodanovic. We talked about Christian Weir in the 32, 17th, Jackson Lee 18th, Eli Navarro 19th, Trey Burke in 20th, Kent Vaccaro 21st. And I believe, Dylan Christie and Nathan Bird still on the racetrack.
Coming back to green.
Yeah, we're back on the racetrack, folks, and there it is. Aaron Likens up in the tower, giving the green flag again. Nicely done by the AMR safety crew. Only lost a couple of laps. 7 laps remaining. But then looking at that time as well.
That's 16 minutes left, so we could get it. Yeah,
we'll be good.
If we don't have another year.
We'll be good. So again, the good opportunity to attack here early. But they get back at it once again. Drivers racing hard here for position at the restart. For USF2000, look at this, Michael D'Orlando, another shot at it, big run down the straightaway. Let's see what happens for D'Orlando when they get down into turn number 4. Full field running through. D'Orlando's going the outside, long way around. D'Orlando to the outside. Can he hold it up into turn number 5? Does he get the pass done up into 5 here right now? Indeed, he does book it. He is through. D'Orlando to P1, and I believe Simon Sykes got by Kiko Porto as well, John.
We'll check it as they come by, but I think that's Kiko still in second.
It may be.
Sykes is back in third.
It may be, yep. Just got to pick up the orange there of Sykes. They got that little yellow on Porto's and the orange of Sykes. So Simon Sykes not quite able to take full advantage there, but he's there to put the pressure on. But nonetheless, Michael D'Orlando, John, back to the top of the hill here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him check out. He was the top qualifier at a couple events earlier this year. Won Lucas Oil, qualified second here today. He's been quick. I think he was the fastest driver in morning practice as well. So the speed has been there for Michael D'Orlando. He is now your leader.
And that keeps him in second in the potential points as they run, but closes the gap to Porto to 25 points.
Indeed.
Sundaramurthy still hanging on to that third spot.
And John, to be honest, it helps everybody else down here. Everybody below it, the gap that they had is less because obviously Kiko's going to lose essentially 5 points. 20 points, I believe, 30 points for the win, 25 for second.
Josh Pearson and Ruben Sundaramurthy, the only ones that moved back because D'Orlando is able to leapfrog them from fourth up to second, if it were to finish now. But still 12 minutes, about 14 minutes left and about 6 laps. So we should get them all in.
I think we will. Capping off the day here with our first of 3 races in USF2000. Aggressive racing. Further back behind again, watching that fight between Thomas Nepfu and Christian Brooks. They continue to go at it to try to find that position. Brooks doing everything he can. I think he may have slipped by there. Indeed he has. Christian Brooks in the 44, able to get by Thomas Nepfu up to 12th position. So move Brooks now to P12. His next driver in front of him will be his teammate Matt Round-Garrido. Look at the lead already here for Michael D'Orlando. Bang it out to 0.7 of a second. Open racetrack for the New Yorker. Looking to see if he can't find that second win of the year. It'll be the 5th podium and 2nd victory for D'Orlando if he can bring it home. 5 to go for the Cape Motorsports driver out front. And again, I love looking at the lineup in terms of teams. Cape Motorsports for D'Orlando, D-Force for Porto, Legacy for Sykes, Exclusive Autosport for Fraser. 4 different teams in the top 4. Back to Jay Howard is there as well. Denmark and Pearson for Pabst. Turn 3 for Green. Number of different teams. And look at this. Here's the fight there continuing between Billy Fraser and Nolan Siegel. That is for 4th position.
Josh Pearson moved up a spot up into 8th on that last lap. And he's only about half a second behind Jace Denmark. So Josh Pearson looks to be on the move here in the late going.
Yeah, we get some good racing here. And all the way through the field as well. We saw some tremendous racing before that full course yellow. And in fact, that battle we saw is what brought the yellow up. We've seen some really good racing further back. And now we'll see what happens with Christian Brooks trying to find a way by Matt Round-Garrido. Teammate and good friend under the tent. Matt's not going to want to give that position up at all, but Brooks pushing hard. Right behind him, you can see him coming to the carousel, the 2 red and white exclusive cars coming out at turn number 13. Matt Round-Garrido has not been able to do anything yet this race here with Ruben Sundaramurthy. Brooks trying to see if he can't get by him. Always try to close up on the points. Right now, Christian Brooks, as they run on the racetrack, 56 points back. That is a big deficit for Brooks. D'Orlando, though, leading the way in the number 4. Cape Motorsports, 8-time series champion. Had some tremendous racers in that camp. Michael D'Orlando, one of them now, trying to get another victory. Won here last year as well at Mid-Ohio, and could he do it again? 4 to go. 4 laps remaining. We've got a couple of really spirited battles further back. Sundaramurthy trying to put the pressure now here on Josh Green. Christian Brooks putting the pressure on Matt Round-Garrido.
Josh Pearson on Jace Denmark. And Nolan Siegel on Billy Fraser.
That's it,
so
yeah.
Those 2x2 battles looking pretty stout.
I like it. Mano a mano out there right now, battling it out for position, for points, crucial points in the championship. A little bit of lock up there coming into the braking zone of turn 12, the carousel. That was, I believe, Siegel or Garg locking it up into that corner. I'll tell you, relentless pressure, though, John. Siegel on Fraser.
Yep.
Nolan has not given up at all, continues to put the pressure on. Fraser doing a good job running more of a defensive line down into turn number 4. But like we said earlier, you can get the job done in turn 4, inside or outside. We saw from Michael D'Orlando, you got to get a really good run to be able to get that outside pass.
Yeah, the top 3 have really spread it out. They're pretty much evenly spaced, and the best battle is the one for 4th between Billy Fraser and Nolan Siegel right now. As we're counting down the laps, 3 to go.
Yeah, watch what we're going to see here. We may see a couple drivers pop out to try to make passes down here to turn number 4. We have actually nobody close enough. And again, that plays a little bit to being able to get the car to rotate the way you want comfortably through the keyhole. You got to get out of the keyhole, John, so clean to be able to get that run. You need to have just enough of a gap to leverage that draft to be able to pull up and pull out. When you're too close, you get the aero wash, it just doesn't work for you. But these cars, again, not a lot of downforce compared to the cars of before. We tried to pull some of the downforce out, go more mechanical, to try to cure some of that aero wash. Like we were talking back early 2000s, those Van Diemen's, the guys complaining about aero wash like crazy. The wings were pretty significant on the cars back in the early 2000s. Really impressed with Billy Fraser. Did a great job here. The best run we've seen out of Billy. I will say he had a really strong run, finishing at St. Petersburg in the 4th position. That's his best result so far, and that's where he runs now. Really had a chance potentially to lock at a podium for Exclusive Autosport, as Christian Brooks got the win and Matt Rangarito was on the podium as well. But for him to be able to do this mid-season at a track like Mid-Ohio, I think this is big for Billy Fraser.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
2 laps remaining. Michael D'Orlando ready to lock down his 2nd win of the season. The victory at Lucas Oil Raceway. The Oval, trying to get one here on a road course. I like that battle further back between Ken Vaccaro and Trey Burke as well. They're going at it. Burke's trying around the outside. The tail of the field here. Burke is going to try around the outside. See if he's able to make it stick. Not quite. Trey Burke throwing everything at it. Good weekend for Trey. He's not going to be happy with 22nd after the pace he's shown, but I think Trey Burke is having a good run. Looking around the outside. That's side-by-side 4, 5, 6, John. How many times have you called guys doing that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's great racing.
None of the guys that are running in that second, the second driver in these twosomes that are battling have been able to do anything right now. It's just it's tough when the guy in front of you is just that equally matched. Even with the draft, it's hard to be able to get the job done. White flag flying for Michael D'Orlando. Yeah, a lot of great battling here further back, and another one here too between Jackson Lee and Christian Weir. Weir in the 32, Lee in the 8 at 17th and 18th. Jackson Lee right on the rear wing of him as well. So final lap on the racetrack for Michael D'Orlando, the young driver from Hartsdale, New York. Did some on and off racing. John did some stuff in F1600, a little bit of racing here in USF2000. Never was able to get a full season and did that last year. Was able to get the experience, get the race win. And now you come into this season, such a different driver. The kid's like 6'4", so he's shoehorned into this race car right now, so it doesn't make it easy. But the experience that he got last year is what is allowing him to run up front this year.
Making up some ground in the points battle, going from 4th to 2nd the way it stands right now.
Yeah. Only 25 back too.
Oh yeah, if Kiko Porto has a problem in race number 2 and he finishes 2nd or above, he can take over the points lead.
So out of Thunder Valley for the final time, Michael D'Orlando leads, got a pretty nice little advantage of over a 1.5 seconds probably to Kiko Porto. And same thing with Billy Fraser trying to hold on to P4. But out of the final circuit, folks, the first winner of the 3 races here at USF2000 in Mid-Ohio, Michael D'Orlando, the American for Cape Motorsports, brings the car down to pit wall to salute his team, Cape Motorsports. Porto in 2nd, Sykes in 3rd, Fraser 4th, Siegel ends up in the 5th spot, Bajoy Gard in 6th, Jace Denmark in 7th, Josh Pearson 8th, Josh Green in 9th, and Yuvan Sundaramurthy in 10th. Christian Brooks ends up 11th, Matt Rangarito in 12th, Nepfu, Kohlbecker, and Vodanovic, the top 15. Good run for Peter Vodanovic as well. As I said before, started back in the 23rd position. He works his way up to 15th. Strong run for the Kiwi, Peter Vodanovic.
Absolutely. Rob's going to make his way down to the podium to interview our top 3 finishers.
Yeah, I'll do that now. What a great run, man. This is what I like to see is a couple Americans, the Brazilian Porto. We got so much talent in this category. D'Orlando with the win, Porto 2nd. Big, another podium, 2nd podium in a row for Simon Sykes as well. That built a lot of momentum for that team. So I'll head down, you wrap it up and throw it down, John. It's been fun.
All right, thank you.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, And then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Myers, Evans, Highland, Campbell, and Rowe out with either contact or mechanical problems over the course. Michael D'Orlando on camera now as he unbuckles his helmet, getting ready to climb out of that victorious race car. As he finally notches his first win or second win on the season after winning at Lucas Oil Raceway. Michael D'Orlando, your winner in race number 1 here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So that'll wrap up our coverage of the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship as far as on the racetrack, but we still have victory circle ceremonies, and we'll bring those to you live as Rob Howden will be holding court down there in the victory lane just in front of the B garage. While we have just a moment, we'll get our final thoughts from our 3 reporters around the track. Rusty Bell.
Well, a great, it's really the second day of on-track activity here, but the first day we've seen a lot of spectators, and glad to see the crowd coming back to Mid-Ohio. Looking forward to the next couple of days here.
Rob Howden ready to go down a victory circle, so let's set it down to him now. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you so much, John. The car's actually not quite in here yet. If you want to go over a little more, we'll send it back down. We need probably about 5 or 10 minutes until he gets it set to go here.
Okay, sounds great. So let's go out to Tom Michaels in the S's. Tom? And Rich Grunewald at turn 9. Rich?
Yeah, I thought this was a great day. I mean, the weather was a little bit cool, which I'm sure impacted some of the performance and times on track. And however, by the end of the day here, it got to be pretty nice. And I think we saw, you know, the competition step up, take advantage of the better conditions. What really amazed me about the Road to Indy cars was the variety of drivers, and you know, they really come from all over the world to compete here in this series. So the future of open wheel racing looks pretty bright.
Indeed it does. In this ladder series and others, certainly grooming these young drivers coming right out of go-karting into open wheel racing for the first time. It's certainly great to see the next generation of racers making their presence felt here in the series on the Road to Indy ladder. And again, the scholarships that are made available to these drivers to move up to the next rung on the ladder, so essential for them to take that next step, because you know some of these drivers come into this, they don't have, you know, huge sponsorship money behind them. They're not coming from you know, wealthy families or whatever, so they really rely on the scholarships to give them the wherewithal to move up. And you see a lot of drivers over the course of the history of the Road to Indy have taken advantage of those scholarships to climb the ladder all the way to the top rung. Okay, sounds like Rob Howden is finally up on the victory circle stage. Rob, let's go again.
John, I've actually got drivers now, so
all
we're
right.
good to go. Yeah, down here at Tatus Victory Lane, we'll cap off the day's action here, folks, with the 3 drivers who were able to have success here today in the first of the 3 races we'll have this weekend in the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Let's bring up the driver coming home in 3rd place. What a great couple of weeks so far for this Legacy Autosport driver. Back-to-back podiums. A round of applause. Driver coming in 3rd today, Simon Sykes. Excellent job for Simon. And let's bring our trophy up. We have our guests from Cooper Tires helping us out, bringing some trophies up here for us. So Simon's going to have a young lady and young man coming out here, a couple of our guests from Cooper. There you go. You can stand with him right there for a picture. Again, Simon Sykes, tremendous job. Legacy Autosport back on the podium once again. 2 races in a row. Second place at Road America. Third place today here at Mid-Ohio. Championship battle heating up, of course, as we only have a couple events after this to cap things off. Driver coming home in second place, still with a nice 25-point lead heading into tomorrow. Finishing in second place today, Kiko Porto for D-Force Racing. Kiko on an impressive run. Let's bring that second place trophy up here as well for Kiko. Love it. P2 for the Brazilian driver. He'll be back tomorrow to do it again. A second race tomorrow, third race on Sunday as well. But Kiko Porto with a strong points haul to be able to keep that point lead as we continue to look who's going to win this scholarship to go to Indy Pro 2000 next year. Impressive run, though, here for the race win. The pass came around the outside of turn number 4. A daring move, made it work, and able to cut things down. Started 4th in points coming into the day. He'll be 2nd in points leaving today, going into tomorrow, folks. For Cape Motorsports, tremendous run. The winner in USF2000, Michael D'Orlando. Michael, before we bring the trophy up, let's you and I have a quick chat. You can give a high five there. Around the outside of turn number 4. That was pretty bold. How did it happen? Did you get that much of a run out of the keyhole? Is that what it took?
Yeah, so that restart really gave me a little bit more of a jump. It was a little bit closer to Kiko in those last closing laps. And coming out of 2, I got a really good run. He went to defend the inside, and I just went around the outside. Just the only move I could have done. Super driving by Kiko. Good job, man. Also you, Simon. Awesome job. But I couldn't have done this without the team, Cape Motorsports, and all my sponsors, DBC, Focus Project Management, Dino Luzzi, UFC Gym, and Rising Star Racing. You
did good there, though. That was awesome.
I'm going off the top of my head.
You got lots of sponsors. That's a great thing.
Yes, it is.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There he is, folks. One more time, Michael D'Orlando. Bring that trophy up here for him, that P1 trophy as well. Michael D'Orlando's second win on the season, also scored the victory at the Oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. And this is big for him. Goes from 4th to 2nd in the points, back by just 25 markers, to tightening things up here. Just 3 fantastic stories up here right now. Of course, Michael D'Orlando with the win, the point leader Kiko Porto in second. But what a huge run. Back-to-back podiums for Simon Sykes, folks, for Legacy Autosport. Big for the team to be able to get him up here and do what he's doing. They've got a lot of momentum right now. Look for Simon to get more and more confidence moving forward and potentially get back to the podium. Hold on to your trophies, guys. We've got some of our guests coming up for a guest photo. Capping off the day here in Tatis Victory Lane. Lots more action of the Road to Indy to come. 7 races in total on the Road to Indy here this weekend. 3 in USF2000, 2 each in Indy Pro 2000 and Indy Lights. All 3 series will run tomorrow. All 3 series will be in the morning before the IndyCar race on Sunday as well at noon. So we got a lot of racing for you. And again, as I'd say always, this is the future of the NTT IndyCar series. You're getting a chance to see single A, double A, and triple A, essentially the equivalents of racing here this weekend. These are the stars that you'll see. This is where the Renus VKs, the Oliver Askews, the Pato Awards, the Colton Hurtas, this is where they started in this program in USF2000, Indy Pro, and Indy Lights, and tremendous run for all these drivers. These drivers have to wear these suits again tomorrow and Sunday, so I don't know that it would be wise for them to get them super wet. Whatever you do, guys, don't spray the photographers either. We know this. Do not spray the photographers. Book, let her rip, folks. Champagne time to spray here in USF2000. Spray coming. Simon Sykes breaking the cardinal rule. You don't spray him. Hey, but you know what? Maybe there's an opportunity. He'll get too sticky and stinky tomorrow, and you might be able to slide by him and turn 4 yourself. So maybe that was the bold move there, broad stroke. One more time, a round of applause, folks. Everyone here on the podium. Simon Sykes, P3. Kiko Porto, second. And the winner of the first USF2000 race of the weekend, Michael D'Orlando from Cape Motorsports. John Phippen, thank you so much. Great day here. We're done at Tatis Victory Lane. Let's cap things off.
Thanks.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie. My niece, your cousin, And Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and
to Road to Indy TV Live. I'm your host, Parker Thompson, and I'm here with Race 1 USF2000 winner, Michael D'Orlando. Michael, what a race. You start second. Kind of funny, I'll give you, you don't even know this, I was actually standing in the keyhole turn 2, with Matty Brabham, your spotter.
Yeah.
And we actually called the pass in turn 4. We knew it was coming. Now, you get a great start. I thought you were going to get him actually right off the bat on the start because you were side by side when the first full course caution came out. Obviously, you have to get settled back in. Take me through going back after him and the pass.
Well, obviously, after the first start, I was right next to him, and I was so close to being in front before that yellow came out, but I wasn't, and I was just like, bummer. But restart later, I'm just chasing him down the whole time, and I'm just getting closer and closer, inch by inch, and trying to make that move. And then, thankfully, that next yellow came out, and I was just right on his butt, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is my move. This is my chance. And I go around the outside into 4, deep brake, around the outside. It was just absolutely awesome move.
So take me through your strategy to it. Obviously, you pull him down to the inside. You make him defend.
Yep.
Did you try and pin him down there? Did you break deeper? Take me through your mentality.
So I went to pass him, and he was down on the inside already, so I just moved a car length over.
Okay.
And I was trying to keep him there so I could get a little bit more room on the going into the outside. And then at that point, I moved over to my braking zone, and he gave me some room, and it was super respectful. And in that moment, I just outbroke him because he was on the inside, and just held it around the outside. It was super clean.
So let's cover two things for the Road to Indy TV fans. When we talk about pinning a driver down and we talk about that high-speed chess, essentially what Michael was doing here on the Road to Indy, you can only make one move. So if that lead driver, the car that's getting passed, makes a move down to the inside, Once Michael popped out onto the outside, that driver was locked down to the inside. So Kiko was locked to the inside.
Yep.
If he moved over too much or he moved in reaction, you would have the race officials probably give Kiko a penalty. So that's kind of the high-speed strategy that happens. And then obviously you noted that he went down the whole back straightaway down the inside, which he's probably got dirt on his tires.
Right.
Probably can't brake as late on the inside.
And so especially since when you're braking on the inside, you make the radius of the corner even tighter. So and when you're on the outside, you have more of that leeway to brake later and more. You can keep up more of that momentum.
For sure. He is being pretty humble, though. It is around the outside of turn 4 is tough because at the end of the day, that guy on the inside can open up his hands and go, oops, and roll out Indy.
That's why I say he was super respectful. It was a great move, but it was also great track positioning and great racing from Kiko.
So you won here last year, correct?
Yes.
So that's 2 wins at Mid-Ohio. And then not only that, but you've got that win at Lucas Oil this year. The momentum is building for Michael. I can see it. The pressure's off. You're enjoying yourself. You're having fun. Goals for the rest of the year. You're sitting second now in the championship.
Yep. So my goals for the rest of the year, I know I'm super quick here at New Jersey. That was my home, not quite my home track, but it's close to home.
Yep.
And I know I'm super quick here and there, so I'm just going to try and take it step by step. And I know I'm quick here, and I know I'm qualified second for the next 2 races. So I'm just going to try and replay that race. And obviously, Kiko's going to learn from his mistakes, and I'm going to try and learn from mine. But I'm just going to go for any opportunity I can get and try and be a little bit more, what do you say?
Confident.
Yeah, confident.
I can see it. So for the Road to Indy TV fans at home, you've got USF2000 having 3 races here at Mid-Ohio with only 1 qualifying session.
Yeah.
So your tire allotment this weekend is 4, correct?
Yes, it is. So we had, I did a strategy where we put 2 tires on in the qualifying session, so now I have 1 more set for this weekend.
Okay, so maybe I messed up then. 3 sets?
No, I'm pretty sure it's 4.
And you used the set today in race 1?
Yeah, in that race 1.
Okay, so he's got 4 sets of tires. So it's a little confusing on these 3 race weekends. It's great that USF2000 gets to race 3 times, but for our fans at home, it's different than Indy Pro and Indy Lights when you've got 2 qualifyings for 2 races. Now you've got 1 qualifying for 3 races.
Yeah.
So it's your second fastest time in qualifying, setting those times for the races, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so you've got Michael D'Orlando on the front row in both races?
Yep.
Second place, that's pretty good. I would say if you won today, you're looking pretty shiny for tomorrow. And is it Kiko starting P1?
Yep, it's the same front row. So I'm super excited going into these next 2. I know I can make the same move if possible.
That sounds great. So tomorrow, same strategy? Do you want to get there earlier instead of wait?
Yeah, so the strategy is going to kind of remain the same. I'm not going to give away too much because,
Oh, come on. The Road to Indy fans need to hear it.
All right, well, the strategy is going to stay the same. I normally take my racing 1 step at a time, so if anything happens, I try to play it through my head and see, just try and do what my gut tells me to do. And I was hoping to make that move around the outside in the first lap, and I'm going to maybe try it again in the next one if I'm close enough, but, yeah, the strategy is going to stay the same. I know I'm starting up front, so it should be good.
I like it. So you've won the first race. Pressure's off now. You still got 2, but it's nice to get the first win out of the way with the weekend.
Yep.
How do you celebrate? You can't really celebrate because you got to be up pretty early tomorrow morning. Tonight, what's the D'Orlando family doing? They're a crazy bunch, by the way. They train at Pit Fit. Your father's hilarious. They're always a good time.
No,
so what are the D'Orlandos getting up to?
I haven't really planned it yet. I think we're just going to head out to dinner and just enjoy the night, have a little nice dessert, and then just get to bed nice and early because I'm so tired right now.
Are you?
Yeah, we had 3 sessions today.
It is a pretty long weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a long weekend. We had 3 sessions today, and I'm just going to go home and sleep like a baby.
I like it. So you've got Michael D'Orlando going home to sleep like a baby. I am, for those of you who don't know, this track has one of the best golf courses about 20 minutes away, so you'll find a lot of the Road to Indy guys going golfing. That's where I'm probably going to find myself tonight. But for the Road to Indy TV fans, you have got Indy Pro 2000 qualifying 2 coming up at 8:20 a.m. tomorrow, and then you get to listen to me and the next couple race winners talk. We've got 6 more races coming up this weekend, one of the most action-packed weekends of our Road to Indy calendar, and it's also America's birthday, July 4th. Happy July 4th to all our American racing fans. We look forward to watching you tomorrow morning. Should be good. Stay tuned, Road to Indy.
I'll be back here, hopefully.